Hi there, I'm Wendy and welcome to my channel Wendy Purl Knits, and today's video is a tutorial video and I'm going to be taking you through how I work the Turkish cast on when I'm making my toe up socks. Now this is a great alternative to Judy's magic cast on, and you can use either of those methods when working any of my toe up sock patterns. So just before we start, don't forget to subscribe and you'll get to hear when my next videos go live. And if you enjoy this video, it would be lovely if you gave me a like. But now we'll get straight on with working this Turkish cast on. So to start with, I'm using a 2.5mm circular needle that's 80 centimetres in length, and together with that I'm using West Yorkshire Spinners Signature 4-ply. Now you can use any size needle that goes with your corresponding yarn, but you will need a needle that has a cable that's at least 60 centimetres long for you to be able to work and turn in the magic loop method. So I'm going to hold my needles together in one hand, and with the other hand I'm going to pick up my yarn and make a slip knot. Now I don't need a particularly long tail, but I usually use about 7 to 10 centimetres to start with. And then I'm going to slip that slip knot onto the back needle. Okay. And then I usually just hold the tail along with my two needles. So I'm holding my two needles together, I have a slip knot and I've got the yarn coming from the bottom. Now I tend to move my slip knot down my needle a bit, and altogether I want to cast on 20 stitches. I want 10 stitches on the top needle and 10 stitches on the bottom needle. So this slip knot is going to be ignored eventually. We're not going to use that, but we're just using it to anchor our yarn to the needle to start with. So I'm going to take my yarn from underneath and bring it round the front and up over the back and back down again, and I've completely wrapped that yarn around the needle, and that will create 2 stitches. That's going to create a stitch on my top needle and a stitch on my bottom needle. Now I'm going to continue doing this, and I'm going to continue doing it 10 times to create the 10 stitches. So I've got my first stitch, so that's the second time, third time, fourth time, fifth time, sixth, seventh, you can move them down a bit if you need to, 8, 9 and 10. Now once I've done that, I'm going to hold the yarn against the back of my two needles and swap hands. So my needles are now in my left hand and they're pointing in the right direction. So now I'm going to be careful with this yarn. I'm going to just move it over to this hand for a minute, and I want to make sure that I don't lose this bottom stitch here. So I want to make sure that my yarn is still firmly held against the back of the two needles, and I can see I've got my slip knot, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 stitches. So still holding that yarn against my needles, I'm going to pull the bottom needle out. And now I've done that, I'm knitting with the yarn in my right hand. So I'm just transferring the yarn over to my right hand, and I'm going to knit that first stitch. Now this first few stitches might feel a little bit wobbly, but as soon as you've knitted the stitches, it will secure up. So that's my first stitch knitted. Now I'm going to knit the second stitch and the third stitch, the fourth stitch and the fifth and the sixth and the seventh and the eighth and then the ninth and the 10th. And now I've done that, I can turn my needles around, and I've got the needles again now turning and they're facing the right hand direction. Now what I can do is pull this top needle back and pull the bottom needle out. And then when I take a look at it, I've got 10 stitches on the top needle plus the slip knot. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and the spare slip knot. And I've got 10 stitches on the bottom needle. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then if I take a look at the back of my work, it will be slightly rough. There'll be like a slight pearl looking line there, a wiggly line, and the front will be smooth. And as I said, the slip knot will be on the top needle and the working yarn will be hanging from the bottom needle here. Now this slip knot is now redundant, so we can just slip that off the end of our needle and forget about it. And then now we just want to be careful that we don't lose this bottom stitch here. So I'm just going to hold the tail end securely. But now all I need to do is knit across these top 10 stitches on the top needle. So I'm just going to knit normally through them. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, and that is it. We have actually now cast on 20 stitches in total with the Turkish cast on. So I'm going to turn it around and take a quick look at it with you. So now when we look at it, we can see we've got one row of stitches in the middle here, nice smooth stocking stitch stitches, and we've got the pearl bumps on the back. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to knit 2 more sides of these stitches. I'm going to knit the 10 stitches on the top needle again and the 10 stitches on the bottom needle, and then I'll come back to you and show you what it looks like. So there it is, there's my Turkish cast on, and I've also knitted 1 complete round. So I've knitted one side here on the top needle and then another side here on the bottom needle, and you can see that I've got my stocking stitches here on the front and I've got my pearl side on the back. And this is another great way of starting toe up socks, and it's another alternative method to using Judy's Magic Cast On. So I'm going to pop a link for my video on Judy's Magic Cast On as well, so that you can take a look at it. But to be honest, it doesn't matter which of these methods you use on my patterns for toe up socks, and it's a great way of casting on for anything where you want to work outwards and have a smooth central join in the middle. So I hope you found this video useful, and don't forget to subscribe and give me a like if you've enjoyed this video. And all I'll say for now is happy sock knitting, and take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye.